Marie, Leo, keep the faith. Robin, Rocky, Janice, hello. Danielle, good to see you. Good to see you. Alice, Jay Chandley. Sorry, Jay Chandley. Good morning. I just can't do it that fast. I can't. Good morning. How is everybody? Good Monday morning. Good morning, Sally. Good to see you. If you would, please go ahead and retweet. And I hope we don't know yet if everything else is up. Looks like everything's coming up. Good. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Whew. Oh, I'm hoping I can get it all in one more. There's just too much. Good morning, Alice. Okay. Morning, Rocky. One more. Okay. Right. One more. Sorry. A lot of people to share too. Good morning, Daniel. Good to see you. All right. And there we go. I think that has it. I think it does. All right. Thank you for sharing as well. Let me get this up and going. And there we go. Good morning, John, Loretta, Twin, Stephanie, Gay. Good morning. Idnar, good morning. I haven't tuned in a long time. I know. Where have you been? We've been waiting for you. I don't see YouTube yet. YouTube's up. YouTube is up. It just takes a while for YouTube to get going. I don't know why. It's really quite sad. But let me see. Good morning, Bonnie. How are you? Good to see you. All right. So let me just read a little bit of the Bible and then we'll get started. Nothing can stop what is coming, John said. All right, Daniel chapter 2, verses 20, starting at 20. Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his, and he changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and raises up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals deep and secret things. Yes, he does. He reveals deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, the double yes, and light dwells with him. I thank you and praise you, O God of my fathers. You have given me wisdom and might and have now made known to me what we asked of you, for you have made known to us the king's demand. Amen. Okay, then I also wanted to remind you before we get started, my book, My Ears Are Not Like Yours, available on YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. It's available on Periscope account number 9. Boston Tea. That's funny. Okay. My Ears Are Not Like Yours, available at Amazon.com. And if you order now, you can get it by the 19th. So it's still available. This is giving a positive message for children ages 4 through 11, a word of encouragement. So please order that today and give them a gift that shows that you care. Praying that the spirit of truth and great conviction to uphold the truth will fall upon all those who are considered the electoral college. May truth prevail. Amen. In Hoth. Good morning, Snowball. Good to see you. Okay. Now let's get started on a whole bunch of stuff that we have here to talk about. Where do I get started? Oh, this is great. So today the electors are going to gather in state capitals across the country and to formally vote for Joe Biden as the next U.S. president, or so they say. And this is what Reuters, listen to how Reuters said it. To formally vote for Joe Biden as the next U.S. president, effectively ending President Donald Trump's frenzied but failing attempt to overturn his loss in the November 3rd election. But not so fast. Okay, so let me bring you some things here. A lot of stuff breaking right now. All right, so this is, let me bring this up for you. This is Ivan, who works for the Epoch Times. This is the what we've been waiting for from Michigan. This is the report coming out. Dominion Voting Machine Forensic Report. We conclude that Dominion voting system is intentionally and purposefully designed with inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence election results. I don't know how much plainer you need to see that. He said the allowable, this is what was in the report, the allowable election error rate established by the Federal Election Commission guidelines is 1 in 250,000 ballots, or 0.0008%. We observed an error rate of 68.05%. This demonstrated a significant and fatal error in security and election integrity. A staggering number of votes required adjudication. This was a 2020 issue not seen in previous election cycles, still stored on the server. The international errors lead to bulk adjudication of ballots with no oversight, no transparency, or no audit trail. Significantly, the computer system shows vote adjudication logs for prior years, but all adjudication log entries for the 2020 election cycle are missing. The adjudication process is the simplest way to manually manipulate votes. The lack of records prevents any form of audit accountability, and their conspicuous absence is extremely suspicious since the files exist for previous years using the same software. Removal of these files violates state law and prevents a meaningful audit. Even if the secretary wanted to conduct an audit, we must conclude that the 2020 election cycle records have been manually removed. And it just goes on and on and on. Hey, Barbara, these system changes affect how ballots are read and tabulated, and our examination demonstrated a significant change in voter results using the two different programs. I don't know how much more clear evidence that you need that a fraud in our election process occurred. Who's at fault? Who caused it? Was it intentional or not? Sure seems that way, but, we'll leave it up to the powers that be to go through and find out all the information that they need to find out, and maybe bring indictments or, whatever else. Now, I want to give you this piece of information. This is the Morning Gut More Dr. Tesso getting ready. Okay. So let me put this here. This is the PDF of the Michigan Forensic Report. So if you want to go and look up the report yourself, there it is. There's the link. Good morning, Redeemed Patriot. Good to see you. Hey, Sissy. Hey, Lisa. Got a dialogue box on your Periscope stream that they are having technical difficulties. Well, Liz, they lied, because they're not. They don't even try to hide their bias anymore. Twin Crier said, nope. Nope. Hey, Cheryl Lynn, good morning. Yeah. So, hey, Bitcoin. So then this is proof of election fraud. It's definitely not over, Alice said. So again, there's the PDF link. If anybody wants to go over and get it and bring it back to Periscope, feel free to do that. And that'll show you exactly. Let me bring this up for those people. This is the Allied Security Operations Group. These are the people that did the report. This will give you the full name, who it is. Hey, Clara, who they are, what their purpose was, what their conclusions were. So you don't have to read it from the Epic Times. You can see it in the report yourself. Same thing on DLive. Yeah, I don't know. Everything's working, but, but the powers that be who don't want you to see it, I guess, aren't working. Okay, now. And the same thing was reported also by Emerald Robinson of Newsmax, but I'll let you just bring that up. So Atrium County audit report, the allowable election error. She went and talked about the same thing that the other guy had talked about. And so it's insane. And if it happened in Michigan, okay, no problem. Okay, Felix the cat. If this happened in Michigan, where else did it happen? These people should do a report for everybody. And of course, only those people who are afraid of seeing things won't allow it to happen. Now, this came out from Stephen Miller. And of course, he's getting eviscerated right now on Twitter for saying it. Let me see. All right. So this is a report that says, this came out from Sobek about Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller on Fox News said an alternative group of electors is also voting today. As we speak, an alternative state of electors in the contested states is going to vote, and we are going to send these results to Congress. So, of course, again, people are laughing at him or whatever, but nothing really to laugh at when you see when this report comes out, what that report said. Not your office, your link says error 404. Yeah, Stephanie, I guess they don't want you to come and watch the show. Hey, Paula, good morning. Good to see you. This way, people won't ever hear the truth, right? They can just sit there and wonder why is it down today? Why is it down? So anyway, I think this is pretty interesting, what we're seeing and where we're going, what today will bring. A lot of people, hey Lee, have said things. Lee, you'll want to see the replay in the beginning there if you haven't, if you don't know all the info that's coming out. This is was out earlier from Code Monkey. And he says December 18 is the final day for the DNI to issue the 2018. Yeah, why didn't the New York Times say anything on this? I don't know, Cully. December 18 is the final day for the DNI to issue the 2018 executive order report to Trump's team. The report could have already been issued. The timing of today's SolarWinds hack that affects nearly the entire U.S. government is quite interesting, paving the way for an announcement, ? Good morning, Brian. And I think we're seeing that, everything is starting to go down rather rapidly. I want to say to you, I know a lot of people may not know what that executive order is. So I'm bringing this up here for you to see exactly what the executive order does. It's been a while, September 2018. We're going to take strong action to secure our election systems and the process. Hey, Monique and Renee. Protecting our elections, President Donald Trump is issuing an executive order that will work to respond to and deter foreign attempts to interfere in our election. Hey, Robin. His executive order is imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in the United States election. Is directing the administration to develop a process in coordination with state and local for assessing and determining if interference in a United States election occurred. The executive order authorizes action against those determined to have interfered in the United States election, including through sanctions and additional measures that would have wide-ranging impact on foreign government entities and individuals who interfere in our elections. President Trump's order mandates integrity reporting, or interagency reporting of potential foreign interference following each federal election. So if you want the link for this so that you can go back and look at it yourself, let me bring this up. And this is the link that you would look at if anybody wants to get that for the people on Periscope, please do, but you can probably find that yourselves. All right. So we see what that's all about. Now, this is interesting. This was brought up, of course, before the report came out on from Michigan, and this is from Mo Brooks. Mo seems to be, one of the very few who are standing up and wanting the truth to be told. And again, I think a lot of people, I still see this on Twitter. And people laughing and, there was no fraud. You people just love Donald Trump and you got to look up. This isn't even about Donald Trump anymore. And it hasn't been about Donald Trump for a long time. It is about the United States becoming Venezuela overnight. We cannot have our country's elections interfered with. Great work, Susan. Never give it up. You got this. Thank you, Leo. We can't just say, oh, well, it was a bad election. We got to let this one go. Got to move on. No, this is the make or break election. This is the make or break. There will never, ever, ever be another election in a republic. Our republic will be gone if this fraud is true and if this fraud stands. So we have to do something. And again, it's not even about President Trump anymore. It's about our voting system being fair and just. It's about, us having the ability to have our votes counted. It's about having a free and fair election. If you don't have that, you don't have a republic. And so we need to find out, we need to get to the bottom of this, find out who did it. I think we're pretty much know already who did it, who's responsible for it, who's involved in it in our own country. And, it just lets us know how deep this is. They'll say, go get them to the outsiders, but not the ones inside, Alan said. Yep. So Mo Brooks said that Congress will have the final verdict in determining who will be the president of the United States. The Republican representative was quoted in the New York Times today in a piece examining his proposed challenge to the Electoral College's official certification of Joe on January 6th. He said, we have a superior role under the Constitution that the Supreme Court does than under the Constitution. We have a superior role under the Constitution than the Supreme Court does, than any federal court judge does, than any state court judge. What he says goes. That's the final verdict. So he's just talking about, using the process of who is going to do the final adjudication of it. Now, here's what's funny. This just came up too. Let me see if I can find this. Oh my gosh. All right. This is going to show you. This is from a left winger who's getting kind of worried now, and he quoted somebody whose account was suspended, a blue checkmark guy. He said, very possible on January 6th, when Congress meets to count the Electoral College votes, that Pence refuses to certify because of fraud. The House then votes, one per state, and Trump accepts his win. When Dems challenge SCOTUS, refers to the precedent they just set with the Texas lawsuit and kicks it back to the legislatures. Checkmate, nice and clean. Let's hope that blue checkmark guy who's been suspended is correct. Good morning, Melanie. Hey, Henry, good to see you. Why are you echoing? I do not know, Melanie. It's probably either your system. You may need to go out and come back in and see if it clears it up. That would be a Facebook issue because nobody else hears me echoing. That they've told me anyway. So again, the left is pretty worried about it. This is something that we should never forget. We live, it's funny. We live in a very kind of dark and fallen world. We really do. Since the beginning, it's a fallen world. Nobody's perfect, and we can see that some of the people that we have trusted aren't perfect, right? Emerald Robinson says, pass it along. The GOP and the RNC were in on it. What about all these criminals in office that are breaking our laws daily? Yep. So this is Bernard Carrick, who is blue checkmark ex-cop in New York, I think, NYPD. For the past 5 weeks, I've seen close up, personal, the spineless, disloyal maggots who portrayed real Donald Trump. Their egos and self-interest have failed this country. If POTUS loses the election, the RNC and GOP will never be the same. And I'll tell you, that would be the least of our problems. The country will never be the same. We will not have the same country. Yeah, he was 40th police commissioner of the New York City Police Department and New York best-selling author. All right. No echoes here. Yeah, better on YouTube. Yeah. I heard this morning the Chinese are meeting this afternoon with state, city government officials down to the school board. This is it. If there is no USA, no society is free, Snowball said. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that in a minute. There is no RNC GOP after this. No. All right. So in Michigan, this was last night. It's kind of a little bit moot right now because it's coming out. But Emerald said a judge just allowed the forensic audit. So that was yesterday, about an hour ago, allowed it, and the results were coming. And they did, in fact, come. And this is something else that came out. This is what I really wanted to show you. And I got the wrong one. This is from Sidney Powell, and this was the Epoch Times, who basically says Powell alerts SCOTUS of new evidence filed in the Michigan case. And it was probably the evidence that we just heard, what you heard me talk about. Hey, Jerry, 2 batches of recently obtained evidence, providing new evidence. And so that what she notified the president last night. Now, here is some information from Georgia, out of Georgia, that I think is really interesting. This is Lynn Wood, one of the attorneys for President Trump. Look at this picture. This is out of Georgia. And it says, hey, FBI, GBI, Georgia, Brian Kemp. Good morning, Clana Claire. How are you? Brian Kemp, Jeff Duncan, and the Georgia Secretary of State. Why are these boxes of Georgia mail ballots hidden in warehouse in Fulton County, many shipped from Arizona. Georgia election was a fraud. Do your damn jobs. Now, here's what I find really interesting. For those of you who have been with me for a while, do you remember me telling you that I called the Registrar of Voters here in California? Because we were told you couldn't vote, in person except through the electronic machine, again, which we have not used forever because we knew they were hacked. And the lady told me that what happens is that don't worry, nothing's happened yet as far as your vote and where you're going to vote and all that, because the ballots have to first we send all the information from California to Arizona, where they will produce our ballots. And then those ballots will be coming back from Arizona. And remember, I told you at the time that I thought that was really unusual. Why were all of these ballots going to Arizona to be created? Now, maybe it was absolutely nothing. I don't know. But here we are again. Why are there boxes of Georgia mail ballots hidden in warehouse in Fulton County, many shipped from Arizona? I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just, well, we got all of our, ballots from Arizona and that's the way it is. And nothing was weird about it. That sounds like a good way to cheat them, Susan. Yeah. I mean, there's something weird about it. I thought it was weird at the time. Remember, I shared it with you guys. I said, there's something weird about the fact, here's California, bigger than Arizona. Why do we need to send our ballots to Arizona to be created? They outsource the print job. That's what I'm saying, Taylor. It could be that, and it could be something else. I don't know. But why would all the states, and maybe Georgia too, why would you send them to Arizona to be made? Arizona Ducey is a traitor, Sally said. Hey, Grateful Mike. I do recall this, Susan. In fact, I never understood this until you spoke about it. I know, Monique. I don't know. It just seems odd. Also heard there were ballots shipped from China. I heard that too, Boston T. Don't know if that's true or not. Wouldn't surprise me in what's happening. So I don't know. All right. So this is what it doesn't seem kosher. It just seems weird. I don't, what do they have they know how to do it there in Arizona, and that's why everything was sent to Arizona. It just seems strange. It doesn't seem cost effective either. It seems weird. Hold on one sec. Okay. Did you see the scan? Code of Interest says there's a forensic way to analyze ballots to show fraud proof. Well, he better get busy. All right. So now, this is from Lynn Wood, again, the attorney for President Trump. There should be no electoral college vote in any state today. Fraud is rampant in all state elections. If the U.S. Supreme Court does not have the courage to act, I believe our president has the courage. So you can interpret that the way that I'm interpreting that. He loves America and freedom. And he says, American patriots, be prepared. Events will unfold quickly over the next several days. Listen to @RealDonaldTrump. So you can do what you will with that information. Kim said, which is, Kim, we just talked about it a few minutes ago. So you might want to hear the replay if you just came here. I think you'll get the clue if you go back and listen to that. Oh, that's okay. Okay. Now, listen to this one. Fold can be analyzed and marked specific that prove it's real or fraud, uses the actual ballot or scan. Okay. Here's another piece from Lynn Wood. This is from Emerald Robinson. Well, if cost effective is your concern yourself no more. Exactly, Alan. A lot of people say he should declare martial law. I have a question. What will martial law do? It's not martial law, Brian. It would be in the Insurrection Act. And that's not necessarily martial law. It does have some aspects of it. We've talked about that before. But what it will do if the Insurrection Act is used is that the military will take control of all of the things in the voting systems, and the military will adjudicate stuff. And when you do that, let me just mention this before we go forward. if the military takes hold of things and the military finds out that there has been treason in our election system, when people talk about Gitmo all the time, now you might actually see people in Gitmo. Government printing services located in Arizona. I don't know, Patrick. I really don't know. They didn't just tamper with electronic votes. Remember the Sharpies. Exactly. Well, and Snowball, I don't know what they ever found out about Sharpies that seem to get lost. Runback election services in Phoenix prints ballots for many U.S. states. Like I said, Taylor, could be. I don't know. I know. I don't think we've ever used them in California before. So Insurrection Act isn't going to come into play. Well, it could. The guilty will be arrested and tried. My husband is an engineer involved in printing industry. Cool. Stephanie said, I think we are going to be surprised. President Trump is not an idiot. Living Grace, do you think he'll go for martial law? Yeah, it won't be martial law. It would be the military taking hold of all of the election machines, ballots, and everything. I mean, and going through and finding out exactly what happened. But okay, so Lynn Wood, this is retweeted by Emerald. Here's what Lynn Wood said, whether it means anything or not. That's probably why Obama hates Flynn so much. Susan, you just opened my eyes, Monique said. Better be safe than sorry. Make sure you have plenty of water, food, flashlights and batteries, candles, radio, Second Amendment supplies, and a plan to meet with leaders of your communities. Remember, we only have one president at a time. Our leader is real Donald Trump, not Biden. So, and it says, I'm still your president. You can take that with a grain of salt, with whatever you think, and whatever he means by all of that. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. But as well as I do, that something is coming. Ham radios too, whatever. Internet could be down. Be prepared. He was duly elected. I find it odd. Now I know everybody's gonna say, well, it just happened or whatever. I find it odd that YouTube and all of Google and Google services went down worldwide for about a half an hour. I find that interesting. Was there, I don't know. Why would that happen? Could there be a purge? Could there be a reset? Could it be just a coincidence? Just a coincidence. So there you go. A test run. Yeah. So, again, I keep saying to everybody here, clouthub.com, please go over and subscribe on my channel 126, Giant Data Mine. Yeah. That would be cloudhub.com/Susan Knowles. Subscribe there. Periscope was crazy from last Thursday. Yeah. So something's happening. Again, we're in a spiritual battle. We know that. And if people don't want to believe that, then I don't know what to say. I was purged off of Twitter, Renee said. Exactly. I thank God for Jeff Brain. Exactly, Sally. Cyber warfare is on. And we've heard about the cyber attacks over the weekend. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I wanted to show you or talk about it nonetheless, about the first New York healthcare worker. It just happens to be a Black female. She's a critical care nurse, and she took the vaccine this morning. And she was given the vaccine by another, looked like a Black nurse. Or a doctor, I guess. It was a doctor. And so do you remember when New York and California said, we're going to examine this. We're going to get all of our experts on this. We're not having one vaccine until we have our experts look at it. And it's just funny because the vaccines got delivered today, right? So the experts have already looked at everything. This woman, and remember they said Black people should go first. I'm just saying, the Gates has said that. Other people have said that. So they picked a Black lady. If you're not on board with Jack and JD, you're behind the power curve. Oh, absolutely, Boston T. Which vaccine? Oh, I don't know, Rome. Which one do you think? So anyway, and just know that all of these people who were getting jabbed, they're going to be shedding. So that's what happens when you shed. It's Pfizer. When I think it's pretty much, I think it's Pfizer. because I believe that was the only one coming from Michigan. Susan, if you haven't yet joined Parler, everybody's there. Yeah, I'm on Parler. I'm also on Cloud Hub. I prefer Cloud Hub over Parler, but I do go to Parler every now and then. Just like when you take the flu jab, you shed, and people around you can get the flu. Now, we don't have flu anymore, right? Flu's been eradicated. So you wouldn't have to worry about the flu. Congress is majority dim. Guess who will announce its president-elect? Monty said. Congress and Senate are in it together for their own interests for the most part. It could be. It could be. Bonnie, could be. We still have the flu. Oh, no, we don't. No, the flu's been eradicated. All we have is the other one. I mean, just look at the stats. Still tell you all these people are dying from the one thing. Nobody's mentioning flu. Although, if you look at the stats, the figures for last flu season, nothing's really changed. So the same amount of people are dying, but we don't have flu anymore. Yeah, there's no flu. I've been trying to get on Parler for 4 months and still haven't, Rocky said. I don't know why. Yeah, flu's been eradicated. No more problems. Been on a journey. It's called sarcasm. Okay. All right. So we are, there's Gracie. We, if everybody would, yeah, flu's gone. Cancer's, no more cancer, no more heart disease. There's nothing. It's just one thing. So there's one, only one thing that you have to worry about. If you would please go ahead and retweet. We're at the halfway point. And then we'll get back started. Thank you so much for retweeting. All right. Let's see. Have you heard POTUS cabinet so far? POTUS. There is no president-elect, Marco. But if you're talking about Joe's fantasy cabinet, yeah, I've heard some of the picks. It's the old Obama group back together again. That's all it is. Yesterday, I got another call from hubby's nursing home. 55 positive residents. They only hold 75 residents. Great, Stephanie. Horrible news. I was telling someone the other day how no one has the flu anymore. Amazing. Isn't it, JC? It's just amazing how things overnight, flu's gone. No one hospitalized from this facility. Cuomo as AG. Now, that would be scary. Yep. Now, Cuomo also, a lady's coming out and saying that he sexually harassed her for years. He absolutely denies it. So I'm sure he's telling the truth. Oh, and by the way, before I leave, the lady getting her jab, the man standing beside her, I guess maybe he's the head of the hospital. I don't know. I got in kind of late there. But he said, look, let me just remind you, if you get this jab, you still must wear a mask and you still must socially distance or it won't work. It won't work. So, keep on going, keep on getting masked up, doing as, complying. He even said, you still need to comply. Okay. Yeah. Kamala believes that Biden sexual harassment. Yep. I got a flyer in the mail to be a vaccine study paying $1,200. Yeah. 2 different shots, 2 weeks apart is why you still need to. No, Rome, even afterwards, sweetie, you're going to have to wear a mask. All right. Now, the United States expects to have immunized, listen to this, people, 100 million people with the jab by the end of March. Did you hear that number? 100 million people. The chief advisor for the U.S. The jab program said on Sunday. Another 50 to 80 million doses will be distributed in January and the same number in February. And you have to get 2 shots, 1/3 of the U.S. population. That's almost biblical, Alan, but of course not. Anyway, it said for the United States to get herd immunity, you plan on carrying a direct IV, Al said. For the United States to get herd immunity, which would halt the transmission of the deadly virus, the country would need to have immunized about 75 to 80% of the population, adding that he hoped to reach that point between May and June. Now, of course, we've left out herd immunity altogether because natural herd immunity, because, come on, natural herd immunity. That's so funny. And here's the article. They want to do more than that, Robin. The U.S. expects to have immunized 100 million against the virus by the end of March. And so here's this article. And again, you won't find anything in here about a natural herd immunity. It's all about getting this vaccine. You must get this vaccine. Because they said so. Yeah, Henry's got a picture of Gates with the shot. How much you want to bet these prominent leaders get a saline injection instead of the vaccine? Yep, Stephanie. I enjoy living and will not be getting the vaccine. Too many horrific reactions in the past. Monique said, you mean like Bell's palsy? Monique, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm sure that didn't happen. Gizo Peak, what did you jab program? Yep. Sounds like population control. You think so, CW? Let's see. And I'll have to show this. Antibodies going away doesn't mean immunity goes away. You think, Henry? You think, but we're not going to talk about that natural herd immunity. Come on now. All right. Now, somebody was talking, I think it was Robin just a minute ago, about some money exchanging hands. Okay, let's take a look at this. I can get this up here. All right. This is from someone, a doctor. According to Gallup poll, 58% of Americans now say they're willing to take the jab. However, a recent Lancet paper estimates that 75 to 80% must take the jab in order to achieve herd immunity. And some of the things that they're doing to increase you getting the jab is they have a significant problem because a lot of people don't want to take it. And so they're going to give you money, maybe $1,500 if you'll take it. Ironically, people who believe in survival of the fittest are rushing to get the jab, Alan said. The payments are insignificant and hard to get. Compulsory jab as a condition of employment. Reducing jab hesitancy by relabeling the side effects. We're not going to talk about the Bell's palsy or people that may go into little thing like anaphylactic shock. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying if they did, we're not going to do that. Also, no jab, no entry. How far can that go? And what can you do? So if you want to see this, we'll put this link out there for you on Restream if anybody wants to put it over there for the Periscope people. I won't be getting the jab. I saw I Am Legend. Okay. All right. So there you have that. Now, unfortunately, how many will take it? Yeah. Herd immunity is built naturally. Oh, Sally, now Sally, now don't be talking about crazy stuff. Can't talk about herd immunity. That's crazy talk. Okay. Now, here's what President Trump had to say. People working in the White House should receive the vaccine somewhat later in the program unless specifically necessary. I have asked that this adjustment be made. I am not scheduled to take the vaccine, but look forward to doing so at the appropriate time. Thank you. I say we get a silicone skin on our upper arms, Stephanie said. No toilet paper without the mark of the beast. Y'all, yep, CW. CW's little jokes there. Okay. So, and here is something that you'll want to see. All right. This was by a tweet here from Tom Elliott. This is Bill Gates. Bill Gates, the doctor, the genius, the what can I say, Einstein? And of course, he's none of those things. But we for whatever reason, we listen to him as if he were the expert and authority. And for the left, he is jack of all trades. There you go. Jack something. Okay, so Bill Gates on COVID, he said, even through 2022, we should be prepared for life, not to return to normal. says, sadly, it's appropriate for bars and restaurants to close over the next 4 to 6 months. You know, you gotta lose some people, gotta go out of business. That's really sad. The son of the attorney who worked with Margaret Sanger, Boston Tea, said, well, according to Hillary, Margaret Sanger was, I mean, my gosh, she looks up to Margaret Sanger. She loved her. He can be whatever he wants because he's got money. That's right, Noel. And we're all supposed to listen to him because he has knowledge. He's an expert. And he doesn't have a medical degree or anything like that. Jeez, that's just odd. Okay, so just a friendly reminder for no reason at all, just absolutely no reason, but just a friendly reminder. Occult ritual transformation. Yeah, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the occult. Not that it's going to ever be something that you need to know about, but just in case. We've talked about this before. Covering things, washing your hands, social separation, lockdowns, and age-old occult rituals being used to initiate people into a new global order. And this is a very interesting article that I'll leave for you again over on the other platforms, in case you want to look that up, just, light reading or something like that. So let's start by examining the 4 distinct but interrelated occult rituals that make up this massive global occult ritual initiation ceremony. That would be ritual face covering, hand washing, social distancing, and lockdowns. Have you ever wondered why in Revelation 17:5 Babylon is called Mystery Babylon? You already know the word Babylon means confusion, but why does the word mystery mean? What's the Strong's Concordance tell us? It says from a derivative of MUO, moi, I guess, to shut the mouth, a secret of mystery through the idea of silence imposed by initiation into religious rites, a mystery. So again, I think this would be, some light reading if you want to look at it and figure out for yourself what it's all about. And there's another article that's pretty interesting. This is about just, the everyday wearing of masks. The link, Been on a Journey, is over there on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on D Live. I can't, unless somebody goes and gets it off of Periscope, I can't give you the link. So if anybody wants to go get it over there and bring it over to Periscope, that's great. Otherwise, it's on YouTube. Now, the person who wears the mask is also considered to be in direct association with the mask's spiritual force, spirit force, and is consequently exposed to personal danger of being affected by it. For the sake of protection, the wearer, like the mask wearer, is required to follow certain sanctioned procedures in using the mask. Now, this is from Britannica. In some respects, he plays the role of an actor in cooperation or collaboration with the mask. Without the dance and posturing routines that the mask wearer performs, often to the accompaniment of music, the mask would remain a representation without a full life force. The real drama and power of its form is the important contribution of the wearer. Covered by the mask and costume, the performer loses his previous identity and assumes a new one. Upon donning the mask, the wearer sometimes undergoes a psychic change, is in a trance, and assumes the spirit character depicted by the mask. Just like Jack said yesterday, conditioning. Usually, however, the wearer skillfully becomes a partner of the character he is impersonating, giving to the mask not only an important spark of vitality by the light flashing from his own eyes, but also bringing it alive by his movements and poses. But often the wearer seems to become psychologically one with the character he is helping to create. So I'm going to leave this little link for you. And so you can see this at any time as well. Very interesting, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about today. I just threw that in there. Okay. We got about 1 more minute. Just a couple of things. Iran is accusing Israel of assassinating the nuclear scientist to provoke war in the region in the last days of Trump's presidency, so they say. California, Richard Grinnell went there, just arrived in Washington, D.C. There are significantly more businesses open in D.C. than in California. Huh. Let's see. And then we have a whole bunch of stuff on CCP that there are so many people in high places. A leaked database of 1.95 million registered Chinese Communist Party members has revealed 123 party loyalists are employed at pharmaceutical giants Pfizer. Where have I heard that name? And AstraZeneca. These are all allegations. Nothing's been proven. But they show records of the recruitment agency. The Chinese used a recruitment agency to infiltrate British, Australian, and U.S. consulates in Shanghai. But don't worry, they didn't touch your election at all. Let's see. What else? In addition, these are just allegations again. The breach also exposed CCP members at companies like airline giant Boeing and, again, the jab maker Pfizer. But nothing to see here, people. Move along. Everything is fine. Just breaking forensic audit of Dominion voting machines finds. Stephanie, we talked about that in the very beginning. Susan, please tell us that we are being punked, and actually we have been a lifetime miniseries. CW, you know what? I'm hoping every day to wake up from this bad dream, and it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. And listening to pastors yesterday, I already knew this, but they've confirmed that if you think you're going to go back to the way it used to be, you think again. It's not going to happen. And why do I tell you this? Because you need to prepare. How do you need to prepare? First of all, you need to get in a closer relationship with God. You need to understand the Bible. You need to understand what is happening. And why what you are seeing has been foretold, that God has said, when these things begin to happen, look up, your redemption draws nigh. These things are beginning to happen. We're seeing, the jab coming out in the potentially someday, maybe being the mark. We're seeing the Great Reset about to come. So that you can't buy or sell or anything like that. And, so it's already happening. Now, Stephanie is saying Trump is going to pardon Julian Assange. Does anybody know if has that been validated, Stephanie, or where did that come from? So, well, maybe in a second she'll tell us. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading the Bible, because we need to be. And yesterday, let me just tell you, I spent a lot of time with Daniel in the Bible yesterday. And if you have some time today or can make some time, nope, Boston Tea, it's not. Go look at the World Economic Forum. They talk about the Great Reset. It is not a conspiracy theory at all. We've talked about it in here before. Go out on the internet, look at the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset. You'll find it. But Daniel is a very good place in the Bible, very good book to spend a lot of time with. And if you didn't see JD yesterday and Jack Hibbs, I suggest, if you have time, going to see them too. Okay. Isaiah chapter 9. Nevertheless, the gloom will not be upon her who is distressed, as when at first he lightly esteemed the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterward more heavily oppressed her by the way of the sea beyond the Jordan and Galilee of the Gentiles. Chapter 9. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in the land of the shadow of death, upon them a light has shined. You have multiplied the nation and increased its joy. They rejoice before you according to the joy of harvest, as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. For you have broken the yoke of this burden and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of Midian. For every warrior's sandal from the noisy battle and garments rolled in blood will be used for burning and fuel of fire. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder, and his name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end upon the throne of David and over his kingdom, to order it and establish it with judgment and justice from the time forward, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. The punishment of Samaria. The Lord sent a word against Jacob, and it has fallen on Israel. All the people will know, Ephraim and the inhabitant of Samaria, who say in pride and arrogance of heart, the bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with hewn stones. The sycamores are cut down, but we will replace them with cedars. Therefore the Lord shall set up the adversaries of Rezin against him, and spur his enemies on, the Syrians before and the Philistines behind, and they shall devour Israel with an open mouth. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. God wants you not to spend eternity in hell. He will reach out his hand and continue to reach out his hand until the very last second. And if you haven't accepted his hand, I would take it. For the people do not turn to him who strikes him, nor do they seek the Lord of hosts. Therefore the Lord will cut off head and tail from Israel, palm branch and bulrush in one day. The elder and honorable, he is the head. The prophet who teaches lies, he is the tail. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and those who are led by them are destroyed. Therefore the Lord will have no joy in their young men, nor have mercy on their fatherless and widows. For everyone is a hypocrite and an evildoer, and every mouth speaks folly. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. For wickedness burns as the fire. It shall devour the briars and thorns and kindle in the thickets of the forest. They shall mount up like rising smoke. Through the wrath of the Lord of hosts, the land is burned up, and the people shall be as fuel for the fire. No man shall spare his brother, and he shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry. He shall devour on the left hand and not be satisfied. Every man shall eat the flesh of his own arm. Manasseh shall devour Ephraim, and Ephraim Manasseh. Together they shall be against Judah. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. Woe, chapter 10. Woe to those who decree unrighteous decrees, who write misfortune, which they have prescribed to rob the needy of justice, and to take what is right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. What will you do in the day of punishment and in the desolation which will come from afar? To whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Without me, they shall bow down among the prisoners, and they shall fall among the slain. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. Arrogant Assyria also judged. Woe to Assyria, the rod of my anger, and the staff in whose hand is my indignation. I will send him against an ungodly nation, and against the people of my wrath. I will give him charge to seize the spoil, to take the prey, and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Yet he does not mean so, nor does his heart think so. But it is his heart to destroy and cut off not a few nations. For he says, are not my princes altogether kings? Is not Calno like Carchemish? Is not Hamath like Arpad? Is not Samaria like Damascus? As my hand has found the kingdoms of the idols, whose carved images excelled those of Jerusalem and Samaria. As I have done to Samaria and her idols, shall I not do also to Jerusalem and her idols? Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Lord has performed all his works on Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, that he will say, I will punish the fruit of the arrogant heart of the king of Assyria, and the glory of his haughty looks. For he says, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by the wisdom, for I am prudent. Also I have removed the boundaries of the people, and have robbed their treasuries. So I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. My hand has found like a nest the riches of the people. And as one gathers eggs that are left, I have gathered all the earth. and there was no one who moved his wing nor opened his mouth with even a peep. Shall the axe boast itself against himself who chops with it? Or shall the saw exalt itself, against him who saws with it? That's so hard. Okay, so pardoning Julian Assange, Sharon says. Good, Sharon. As if a rod could wield itself against those who lift it up, or as if a staff could lift up, as if it were not wood. Therefore, the Lord of hosts, will send leanness among his fat ones, and under his glory he will kindle a burning like the burning of a fire. So the light of Israel will be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame. It will burn and devour his thorns and briars in one day, and it will consume the glory of his forest and of his fruitful field, both soul and body, and they will be as when a sick man washes away. Then the rest of the trees of the forest will be so few in number that a child writes them. Okay, the returning remnant of it. I'm going to stop right there. Reason I'm stopping, I want to do a quick prayer. I may start again in chapter 10 tomorrow, but we'll see. They are meeting now, Ednar said. Okay, cool. All right, everybody. Holy Spirit, I ask you for this day and for every day, but especially this day, God, that you will bring peace to those who are anxious. God, as you do your will, as you've moved forward in your timetable and in what you want to do, God, may the believers, God, not be anxious for anything, but rely upon you 100%. And that they would spend time today with you rather than so much in the news, God, because that is what makes man anxious. And I would ask God for those who are in this Periscope, those who will be listening later on the replay, for those who have family members right now who are hurting and need healing, who are failing, who have been given diagnosis that they weren't expecting. I pray, God, that you would heal the whole family, that you would heal those who have the diagnosis, God, and that they would be made whole. I also pray, God, that for those who have pets that are suffering, God, that they would be healed today. Only you, God, can enact your miracles, and you can do them, God. We see them every single day if we look. And I'm asking you today, God, for a miracle for those people who are in here, those who know who it is that I'm speaking of, and those who are in a replay who have the same needs. God, we ask for your miracle today. And God, we ask that everything go according to your will, according to your plan, God. Whatever is happening in this country and in this world, we know that you are in charge, God. There is no need to fear, that we would look to you, that we would look up, God, as our redemption draws nigh. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. If you would please go ahead and retweet this. And God willing, we will see you again tomorrow. Take care. God bless. All right, everybody. God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow, God willing.